What is up, YouTube fam? It's your favorite unapologetic lesbian, not back with another one. So this video is it's my video explaining a little bit more into my active addiction time. If you didn't see from the pictures, prior to me starting my active addiction, and let me say this, my addiction has nothing to do with the difference in long hair, dressing girly, and now. That was just where I'm from. It's very looked down upon and talked down upon. So I basically, throughout high school, to make my life easier, chose to just dress girly and be girly until I graduated and wasn't going to see the people that picked on me anymore. So, and then I realized it didn't give a either way. But the point I was showing with the before pictures and the daring is the health of it, the weight loss, how I look sick. But I started using in 2011, in like the middle, close to the end of 2011. And I was on, at first, Opana 40s. And Opana 40s is what they call hillbilly heroin. It is the highest pain pill you can get prescribed to you. And you can either get it in crushable form or gel form. Well, the kind that everybody that I was running with and did was the gel kind. So you had to melt it down and then do everything else. But that was crazy. It really was. You know, I actually did graduate high school. And the bullcrap I went through in high school kind of led me down that path, because going through high school, only really knowing sports, not really figuring out other than sports, what I like to do, where I wanted to take my life. Because up to that point, I wanted to play on Team USA's softball team or play in the WNBA. And I know those seemed, a lot of people told me that those were far-fetched dreams. And I was like, well, fine, I'll just be a coach at a high school. Because, I like kids. I like coaching. I like teaching on the game, so why not? And I'll be a PE coach along with it. Well, all that fell through because y'all know the story. I've said it before. Well, my active addiction actually started here, where I'm from. I graduated, like I've stated in other videos, and I went to like the southwest side of town. And that's where I found the wrong crowd. And no negativity. I don't wish any of these people a downfall or harm. For the majority, from what I know, a lot of the people that I ran with and did drugs with, a lot of them has got clean. Now, there's some that's no longer with us, like one that's tattooed on my hand. But there are some of us that did get clean, and I am very proud of the ones that have. And as far as the ones that haven't, I just wish they would get their shit together and get clean. I don't wish any negative on them or anything of the sort. But there was a lot of crazy nights, I will say that. I slept in rest stops a lot. I did. I didn't have to. I had a place I could go to. I had family that was there for me, but I was ashamed to go home. I was ashamed to go back because of everything going on, what I was doing, what I was involved in. And I'll admit it, I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. So I just chose to not go home and sleep in rest stops. And that was stupid of my part. I will say there was somebody with me And I don't mean like physically here, I mean like spiritually. Like God was with me. Angels were with me, protecting me. And, you know, there's those nights. I think I stated in my 8-year clean video, you know, I had a pretty bad reputation here at one point. My nickname around here was Clyde, from Bonnie and Clyde, and not because we went up against police or anything like that. No, we got the nickname Bonnie and Clyde because we would go around and rob any and everybody that we could. There was one girl or woman that we robbed 4 times in one day. And I'm not saying this being braggadocious, because there's nothing to brag about robbing someone. There's really not. Like, I did a lot of dumb shit when I was on drugs, and that is the drugs. You'll do any and everything to get that high, to get that next drug. Any and everything. You know, I've been put into some pretty bad situations. In 2014, I was stabbed. I was stabbed a centimeter away from my jugular vein. All over drugs. The girl I was with, we were staying with one of our dealers and running her places. Well, the girl that I was with wasn't liking how we were being treated and was trying to go make money, but we never could. We wasn't quote unquote allowed. So she got tired of it, and she seen where our dealer put her stuff, and I woke up the next morning. The girl I was with told me to go hit myself, like get myself right, and to be in the car, have it cranked, ready, and in reverse. And I'm thinking, oh shit, here we go. All right. And see, me and the girl that I was with back then, I don't mean any negative when I say this, because both of us are 2 totally different people on drugs, like totally different. But I had to self-defend myself a lot, like a lot. But like I wasn't allowed to say no, and if I did, there was consequences. But I did what I was told. I went, done that, got in the car, got it cranked, had it in reverse, and I look over to my left, and I see our dealer's pocketbook come out the window, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, she comes running out, gets in the car, I get in reverse, and we leave. You know, later on I found out that the girl I was with left $2,000 in the pocketbook, but all right. But she stole all the dope that was on her. And 2 days later, she caught up with us in a local park that's around here. And yeah, I got cut in the stomach, the fingers, and and in the side of my neck, a centimeter away from my jugular vein. And it only went in about this far, but it was still a centimeter away from my jugular vein. Like, the hospital was pretty, they told me I was very lucky. And you know, after that, we moved, me and the girl that I was with, we moved from here to Myrtle Beach. And I lived in Myrtle Beach for like a year and a half, close to 2 years. That's when it got really bad, because the heroin, because that's what I was really addicted to. It was my preferred drug of choice. I also did crack, but heroin, the heroin that was around here wasn't any good. It wasn't any good at all. But we also moved because, you know, safety reasons for me, because we didn't know what was going to happen to me at that point. And to the woman that did stab me, there's no hard feelings on this side. She already knows this. We spoke briefly whenever I was in jail for 30 days and I seen her in passing going to visitation. From what I know, she's actually clean now and focused on her family. And I think she has a grandbaby or a couple, which I'm so proud of. And I'm happy that she's clean as well. But yeah, moved to Myrtle Beach, and I'm just gonna speak of me, because I did go with a girl the whole time I was on drugs, and the drugs I was on, I spent it with the same individual. But we moved to Myrtle Beach, and that's whenever it got really bad drug wise, because we could not find any Opana 40s. The only thing that there was black tar heroin and powdered heroin. And that stuff was better than the stuff that was here, so we actually got addicted. Well, I got addicted pretty bad to that stuff. And I think I said it in my 8-year clean video. Right before I went to jail, I was doing at least 5 grams of heroin a day. That's a lot. It really is. But yeah, I will say living in Myrtle Beach, that was different. See, I had been going to Myrtle Beach as a kid my entire life, and then I grow up and I'm an adult, and then I go live there, and I see a whole different side of Myrtle Beach than I've ever seen in my life. And I truly know why Myrtle Beach has the nickname Dirty Myrtle. I do. I wasn't an actual contributing part to why it's called Dirty Myrtle, but it's drug addicts is why it's called Dirty Myrtle. Drug addicts and rude and irresponsible drunk tourists. And pardon me, I still don't feel all that great, if you can't tell from my voice, but that was an experience living in Myrtle. And look, ironically, I was living in Myrtle Beach in 2015, right? I forgot what month and like what time, but I do remember, like, I have photographic memory of this. We were sitting outside, me and the girl I was with, we were waiting on our dealer, but we were sitting outside of a hotel that we frequently met our dealer at. And there was a like boating bar type thing right beside of the hotel. And y'all will never believe who was on that fucking sign to perform that night. The one and only Upchurch with Kane Brown. No shit. There was a $10 cover at the door. And, you know, I wanted to go really bad. I did. Because at that point, I knew who Kane Brown was. I didn't really know who Upchurch was until the following year, once I had got clean. That's when I really found out who he was. But I wanted to go so bad for Kane Brown, and I ended up getting the money to go, but of course it didn't. We never went to the damn show. Being a drug addict, when you get money, you can want something all you want, but as soon as that damn money hits your hand, it's a different story. You want drugs. We ended up getting drugs. And that sucked. But I mean, yeah. And I will say this. Doing the drugs, I've not been quiet on it. You know, I'm transparent. You do stupid shit when you're on drugs to get the dope. You play stupid games and you win stupid prizes. You know, I did break the law when I was on drugs, and I did stupid things, and I won stupid prizes, and I had to go sit my ass down, and I did. And I did my time. I did 3 days one time, and that was in 2015, right before we moved to Myrtle Beach. And then fast forward, whenever I got sentenced, because like I said, I broke the law. I did stuff. Like, I ain't gonna sit here and pretend like I'm a saint. No. I did bad things to get the drugs that I wanted. And I've learned from all those times. But my very first charge I ever collected was either a DUI or a DWI. And it wasn't the drinking one. It was driving while impaired. That charge was the very first one, and I ended up getting other charges after that one, but my other charges got tried before my DUI or my DWI. And I will never forget this. There is a judge in this county. In fact, I don't even mind saying her name, because if she ever sees this, I just want her to know how thankful I am. She is known for throwing the book at individuals and making an example of them. Well, if she ever does see this video, I just want her to know she did make an example of me in a good way. When my first set of charges I was going up to get convicted of, those were being seen first before my first original charge, which was the DUI or DWI. The way that this judge, her name's Miss Woods, Judge Woods, she made the judgment on my charges to where whatever happened, because she sentenced me to 12 months of supervised probation. Like, I got no jail time. Actually, I did. There was 3 days time served, and that was the 3 days that I had sat in jail. But she gave me 12 months of supervised probation. And she also put it on there that December 4th, which was when my DUI or DWI was being convicted, that's whenever I was being sentenced on that. She made it to where whatever judgment on December 4th was, it had no bearing on the cases right there. So when I went in December 4th to be sentenced for my DWI or my DUI, I was already on 12 months supervised probation. And I had went for those charges sometime in November. I can't remember the exact date. But I will always remember December 4th. Because December 4th I go in and I ended up getting sentenced to 30 days in jail. I could either do weekends or flat out. I chose to do flat out. And I was told I had to go meet with my probation officer, which I did. And he was a really nice guy. He told me he wasn't the type of asshole to put somebody in jail before the holidays and clearly before their birthday and the new year. So I made a sworn promise to him that I was going to be at the jailhouse at January 4th, or on January 4th at 8 o'clock in the morning. And he told me if I did not get there at 8 o'clock in the morning, I would be kicked out and they would issue a warrant for my arrest, even if I'm standing on their property. Yeah. Well, needless to say, I was there at 7:58, so that didn't happen. But, yeah, in technicality, whenever I showed up at the jail and surrendered self-surrendered, I should have violated from my other charges. But because of how Miss Woods did the judgment, it had no bearing on it. So I was able to do the 30 days and, yeah, continue with the 12 months of supervised probation, which I actually, in total, I had 30 days that I had to spend. I had 12 months of unsupervised probation, and then 12 months of unsupervised. So I had supervised and unsupervised. That was a mess to get out of, I'll tell you that now. But I will say, I'm glad I done it, because it showed me just how strong I really am. Because I was dope sick whenever I was in jail, and the jail here, the one that I went to, is statistically the worst jail in the state of North Carolina. It's in like the top 5 or top 10. And like the saying, 3 hots in a cot, yeah, no, you don't even get 2 hots in a cot. You really don't. The lights stay on 24/7 because there's always a suicide. Guards come every 30 minutes to scan to check for suicides. Your food is moldy as hell. Yeah. It's horrible. In all honesty, it was so horrible. I vowed to never go back, and I have made damn sure that I don't. I mean, it's not that hard to live a functioning, sober, clean life and not do any illegal shit. You just got to find something you're good at, that you like doing, that's fun for you, that's not illegal. And there you go. You're able to live happy. And I mean, I will say this. Anybody fighting with addiction, the one thing with me, I felt like I was alone. I feel like I didn't have anybody. Even though I knew I did, I feel like I didn't have anybody. And I will say, right before I tried, or right before I got clean, I did try an attempt to OD. And I am beyond thankful and blessed and humbled and just all around grateful that I did not succeed in that. You know, at that moment in life, I felt like I was literally alone and I had no one, and no one loved me and no one cared about me, and it wouldn't have mattered if I was here anymore. But none of that was true. And I am extremely blessed, thankful, grateful, humbled that I am still here and I can actually give my testimony and give my story. And I really do hope that this does help somebody out there, because it's scary, it's hard, but it's worth it. It really is. And with all this, I do just want to say, this is just my personal opinion on this. You can disagree with it. That is perfectly fine. I do believe, just with my experience, okay, I was an athlete in high school. It was not in my cards to be a drug addict. It's not in anyone's cards to be a drug addict. But I was hearing all my friends talk about how great it was and how it was numbing their pain. And at that time, I thought I had a lot going on, and I chose to use. It was the stupidest decision of my life, but I chose to use. My personal belief is drug addiction is a choice that leads to a disease. And that disease can be cured with you just saying no to yourself, having self-discipline. Now, I know that's kind of controversial, but that is my opinion on it, and that is because I have walked those shoes. That is my experience. And I am not ashamed, sitting here right now over 8 years clean at 32 years old, to say when I was 19 years old, I was stupid as hell and chose to numb my internal pain and hurting by using drugs. And it led me to a disease where my body needed that toxin and that poison every single day. My body thought, and I thought I needed it every single day. But then I didn't. I said no to myself, and I stood firm on saying no to myself. And I've said no to myself every single day ever since. Ever since January 4th of 2016, I have said no to myself. For the first time in my life, I have self-discipline. And in all honesty, you've got to have willpower and you've got to have self-discipline. And those are two things I thought I'd never have. And I do. I went to the bottom of hell, to the depths of hell, to figure it out. And I want my dark depths of hell journey to help someone else. And maybe they won't take this, they won't take the same path as me. They won't turn towards that. Because the one thing that I've also learned, talking is the best medicine. It really is. If you have a thought in your head, for example, if I had a thought that I wanted to go relapse and I did not tell a single soul, eventually that thought is going to catch up to me. And I'm going to end up using before I even realize it. And there's a lovely little saying with that NA, AA, and rehab teaches you, which is You're only as sick as your secrets. And I full-fledged believe in that. If you keep something inside of you for so long, it is going to find its way out. And when it does, it's going to get you. And it's going to be too late. You're already going to be using by that point. Don't be ashamed to say, I have a craving. I want to go use. There is a big difference in looking at someone and telling them, I want to go use. Please talk to me. Then not saying a word. And then later on going and doing it going and doing it. Because you thought about it. You got away with that thought. So now you're going to think you can get away with actually doing it. And let's say you do it and you get away with it. Well, then you've got away with it. Now can I get away with it again and again and again? And it's just a repeated habit. It's insanity. That's what it is. So just talk. That's all I can say is talk. I know it's a lot harder. It's a lot easier said than done, and it seems a lot harder, but it's really not, because the moment you go to open your mouth and talk, everything floods out of you. And you feel so much better. You really do. You really, really do. I mean, I will say I've seen some of the lowest places. When I said that I've seen the depths of hell, I'm not playing. Okay? You know, it got so bad. Look, like I said, I don't mean any negativity or any hate or anything of the sort. I'm not a negative person. I don't mean any type of negative nothing to my ex. But, you know, my ex did some things to get dope, and some of the things that my ex did, I had to take the brunt end of it. Like, for example, my ex would go to this one person's house, and I wasn't allowed to be seen. So I would have to ride in the trunk of the car. Yeah. I would have to ride in the trunk of my own car. And stay there until it was safe to come out. I had to stay in pantries, powder rooms. I had to stay in bathrooms. I had to stay in little hidey holes, not to be seen or heard, so my ex could make money. So we weren't sick and we had dope. Like, that's not a... Looking back, it's horrible. The things I'd done are just horrible. And if anybody who knows me or knew me before knows that shit's not me. It's really not. You know, I made the comment when I first started using drugs, it's not going to get me. That's what they all say. It damn sure did. It got me quick as hell. And it had me gripped so tight. I never thought I'd be able to break that chain. And well, I did. And if you guys would like to know a little bit more about my active addiction, just let me know in the comments, because I don't want to keep this video any longer than what it already is. So, if you want to know more about my active addiction time, let me know in the comments, and be on the lookout for my recovery video, which is just a video of me explaining my time in recovery from January 4th, 2016 until now, 8 years later. And it's just up to this far, because one thing with me, you're never going to hear me say, is I am recovered. I will physically never be able to say those words. I will never physically be able to say those words, because I am not fully recovered until the day I am no longer here. I know that sounds like make it make sense, and let me. Every single day, as a recovering addict, when you wake up, you have to fight everything inside of you. The fight gets easier throughout time, just a little bit easier, but it's still a hard fight. You have to fight every single day. And if you fight every single day until the last day you are here, then you can say you are fully recovered. because you're never fully recovered. This is a fight that you have for the rest of your life every single day. If you give up for even a second, it could grab you. You've got to fight. And it's in you. It's in every single one of you. I didn't think it was in me, and yet here I sit. And now I'm wanting and praying and hoping that I can be a beacon of hope to other recovering addicts and people in active addiction. I want to be a beacon of hope, that light at the end of the tunnel. I want to be able to help others like myself. And if that means getting on here and sometimes just talking about my active addiction and talking about my time and my journey in recovery, then so be it. But if you guys like this video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.